Welcome to a special edition of the Red Sea Corridor. I am your digital anchor, bringing you AI-empowered geopolitical analysis. Today, we are examining a silent assault on Ethiopia's sovereignty, democracy, and future, driven by a massive new wave of Gulf capital. In the shadow of Ethiopia's ambitious reforms under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, this new wave of Gulf capital is actively reshaping the country's destiny. Just days ago, on May 18, 2026, Bloomberg revealed that Qatar's influential Al-Khayyat family, the billionaire owners of Power International Holding and its subsidiary UCC Holding, is aggressively bidding for a major stake in Ethiopia's landmark $12.5 billion Bishoftu International Airport. Ground was broken in January 2026, and this four-runway mega hub near Addis Ababa is designed to become Africa's largest aviation gateway. The Al-Khayyat move is no isolated deal. It caps years of UAE, Saudi, and Qatari investments in land, ports, and infrastructure. But this is not a true partnership. It is strategic influence building by absolute monarchies that care nothing for democracy, human rights, or Ethiopian popular will. Under Abiy, a new oligarchic class, exemplified by the Ovid Group, has exploded into power, capturing the spoils while ordinary Ethiopians lose control over their land, resources, and sovereignty. In the long run, this embrace risks twisting Ethiopia's arm in favor of Egypt on the critical Nile waters dispute, delivering a geopolitical trap that could undermine the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam and the nation's hard-won water security. This Gulf engagement surged after Abiy took power in 2018. Facing their own post-oil future, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar saw Ethiopia's vast arable highlands, Blue Nile waters, young population, and strategic Red Sea location as perfect solutions to their own vulnerabilities, namely food import dependence, small domestic markets, and regional security needs. Billions flowed into agriculture leases, logistics corridors like Berbera Port, and now aviation. The UAE alone pledged $3 billion in aid and investments early on, stabilizing forex reserves while unlocking privatized assets. Qatar's Al-Khayyat bid on Bishoftu Airport fits this exact pattern, embedding Gulf capital deep into Ethiopia's flagship connectivity project, shaping air routes, cargo flows, and tourism to serve Gulf priorities. What makes this uniquely dangerous is the complete indifference to Ethiopia's internal realities. Gulf regimes are absolute monarchies. They do not lecture partners on democracy or human rights. Since Abiy's rise, Ethiopia has faced documented repression, arbitrary arrests, crackdowns on dissent, ethnic tensions, and restrictions on civil society. Yet Gulf investments continue unabated. They partner with whoever controls the state and delivers stable contracts, regardless of the forced evictions of farmers and pastoralists for agribusiness leases or the silencing of protests. Democratic accountability is treated as irrelevant, and human rights are never a condition. This transactional approach stabilizes the very regime that signs the deals, while ordinary Ethiopians watch their country's future slip into foreign hands. This erosion of sovereignty is accelerating. Long-term leases hand decision-making over fertile land, water use, and export priorities directly to Gulf investors. Strategic assets like the Berbera logistics corridor and now potentially Bishoftu Airport shift control of national gateways away from Ethiopian hands entirely. Development priorities tilt toward export enclaves and Gulf-friendly infrastructure rather than broad-based local needs. Ethiopians are losing agency. What grows on their soil, who benefits from their rivers, and how their economy connects to the world increasingly depends on Gulf goodwill. In a landlocked nation desperate for sea access and capital, this creates a dangerous dependency. National policy space shrinks while deals are made in elite circles with little public scrutiny or consent. Worse, the benefits concentrate in the hands of a tiny new oligarchy that has risen precisely under Abiy Ahmed. Since 2018, a fresh circle of politically connected conglomerates has captured the lion's share of contracts, privatizations, and joint ventures. The Ovid Group stands as the starkest example. Starting from modest roots, Ovid, active in construction, real estate, and infrastructure, has secured billions in government-linked projects in just a few years. Its CEO has been publicly honored by Abiy, and rumors swirl of intimate ties to the highest levels of power. These new barons partner seamlessly with Gulf capital on tenders and developments, skimming massive rents while the broader population gets low-wage jobs or none at all. Displaced farmers receive inadequate compensation, and environmental costs fall on local communities. The 1%, this Abiy-era elite nexus of regime insiders and Gulf partners, thrives. The 99% lose farmland, livelihoods, and their voice. Development has become extractive. Capital inflows, yes, but sovereignty and equity, no. The latest Al-Khayyat airport bid perfectly illustrates the pattern. As construction advances on this massive project, Gulf firms compete to lock in long-term influence over Ethiopia's aviation future. Success would embed Qatari capital in a crown jewel asset, further tilting economic levers outward. It is infrastructure-led integration, but on terms that favor external powers and their local enablers. The gravest long-term danger, however, remains largely unspoken. This Gulf embrace could twist Ethiopia's arms in favor of Egypt on the existential Nile dispute. And it is not just about the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, it is also about controlling the construction of future dams. Egypt has long opposed Ethiopian hydro projects, viewing them as a threat to its historic water share. Saudi Arabia and the UAE, Egypt's closest Gulf allies, have repeatedly mediated the conflict, often framing Nile waters as an Arab national security issue. Their investments in Ethiopia give them enormous leverage. As Gulf capital deepens its hold on Ethiopian land, ports, and airports, Addis Ababa may face quiet but overwhelming pressure, not only to compromise on current dam operations, but to abandon plans for future dams on the Blue Nile altogether. These are concessions that protect Egyptian interests at Ethiopia's expense. UAE and Saudi ties to Cairo run far deeper than any rhetorical support for Ethiopian development. In a future crisis, Ethiopia could find itself diplomatically isolated, forced to trade away its upstream water rights and its future energy potential just to keep the Gulf financing flowing. The very investments, sold as progress, could become tools to undermine Ethiopia's sovereign right to build future dams, locking in a geopolitical trap that cripples the nation's hard-won water security. This is not a conspiracy theory. It is the logical outcome of asymmetrical power. Capital-rich Gulf states solving their resource gaps, while Ethiopia trades strategic depth for short-term cash. Without transparent bidding, community consent, independent oversight, and equitable benefit sharing, the trajectory leads straight to dependency, widened inequality, and compromised national interests. Ethiopia stands at a perilous crossroads. The Al-Khayyat bid and similar deals promise gleaming airports and capital inflows, but they mask a deeper reality: lost democratic space, eroded popular sovereignty, the enrichment of Abiy Ahmed's new oligarchs like those at Ovid, and a hidden geopolitical trap that could hand Egypt leverage over the Nile. Ordinary Ethiopians, displaced, repressed, and sidelined, will bear the cost. True development demands accountability, not elite capture or foreign strings. As Gulf influence tightens, the question is whether Ethiopia's leaders will safeguard the nation's future or auction it piece by piece to those who care nothing for its people, its democracy, or its independence. The coming decade will decide if this embrace lifts Ethiopia or binds it. Thank you for joining me for this edition of the Red Sea Corridor. This AI-empowered geopolitical analysis was brought to you under the sole editorial direction of TsedAI McBeeb for TsedAI News. If you found this analysis helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Let us know your thoughts on how this influx of Gulf capital will impact Ethiopia's sovereignty and future dam projects in the comments below.